Hey everybody, this is Amanda. I am back with you today with my dog who is barking. Sorry everyone. Ruru, I'm trying to get some work done here. Thank you. I am really excited today. As you can see, I am doing some work in my sketchbook. I actually recorded this a couple of weeks ago, but I have been very busy. I think I've mentioned before my mom died back in August, and we actually had her funeral last weekend. Lots and lots of family in town. It was actually really wonderful. Just incredible memorial to her life, and so many friends and loved ones were there. It was really, really, really wonderful. Anyway, I decided to make this video a few weeks ago, but have not had a chance to really sort of close the loop, make it done. So I'm doing that today. And as you can see, I decided to do one of my fish designs. I love doing these fish. They're really, really fun, and they actually make really cool patterns. So please do watch to the end or fast forward to the end if you want to see how this looks actually mocked up into some fabric, wallpaper, all that sort of stuff. I am going to use Spoonflower to show some of how these designs turn out later in this video. So if you've ever been curious about Spoonflower, it's a tool that I really love. And you can take your custom designs that you create and you upload them very, very easily and quickly. And then you've got the option to buy fabric. You can make all kinds of different products out of these really simple designs that you can just make on a fun day in your journal. I'm using gouache in this one, as you can see. I have a wet palette that I can put the link below, and I have this kind of dry palette that is really for watercolor, gouache, whatever you like. I tend to use this over and over again. I don't mind that the palette gets a little bit dirty. I like that the colors kind of run together a little bit. I think it creates a really interesting and more cohesive image when the colors are actually kind of related to each other. So so that's kind of the basic setup. I really enjoy just kind of playing in my sketchbook, and that's what you're observing here. And that is actually the beginning right there. I was thinking a lot about value in this one. I wanted it to be relatively muted in terms of colors, but after I had played with it for a little bit, I decided that I really wanted to go back in with a little pop of color, not overbearing, but something that would give it a little bit more texture when I started to play with the patterns themselves. So this is probably a good time for me to mention that I am running a free workshop, just an hour. It'll be just a quick Zoom next week, and the link is below. I am actually prepping for a longer workshop that will be for a fee in February, which will be a 4-part series where I really go into depth on pattern in art, pattern as art, pattern just for pattern lovers, pattern for pattern's sake. So that will be a much more robust program that's happening in February. But this is almost like a preview and try it out. Come and make some patterns like these with me and some other things. So just wanted to kind of mention that. The link is below, and it would be awesome if you could join me. I think we're going to do some really, really cool stuff. So that all being said, I am now starting my second pattern. So on this spread, I decided to do 2 patterns, the first being the fish, and the second is a plaid style. I had this fantasy for a while that I was going to go through and do hand-painted versions of kind of, 50 to 100 classic pattern designs in kind of colors that I really love and all that sort of stuff. I don't know that I'm ever going to get through that, but it was really fun to play around in my sketchbook and do this. You'll notice that I am not measuring. I did measure when I created the squares because I did know that I wanted the squares to be square. But for this purpose, I am not being super exacting. I am not doing these patterns for a client. I am doing them for my own enjoyment. So I don't mind that the edges don't necessarily match up. I mean, I am going back and adjusting, as you saw there. My first line was a bit thin relative to the others, but each one, has its own sort of feel. And again, here I was thinking about value. I was thinking about how the colors are going together, and using actually the same limited palette that I was using on the right with the fish. But you can get such a varied and different effect if you just have more of the darks. And that's really what I was doing. So I'm using thin lines for some of the colors, the complementary colors. I think that's a Jaune Brilliant. That is being, used. It was used pretty widely across the right-hand side. On this one, I'm using it for some of the thinner lines in the plaid. So I'm just playing around with what that looks like. So for plaids, I do enjoy having a nice mix of light and dark colors represented. With this, you can see I'm using gouache, so I can either go in between lines or I can go over the lines depending on how dry things are. I will do that. I think I started with the thin Jaune Brilliant and then realized that I really wanted sort of a little bit more blue in the background, and so I took off. And it's an iterative process, and you can do it a lot of different ways. Play with it. It's really, really fun. So here are the final spreads. So these are the two patterns that I created just on a regular afternoon, just playing around. And that's what the squares look like. So that is the basic square for the fish pattern. This is how it looks when you mock it up with using very simple tools. This is playing around with it even more. And here is where I have the spoon flower part where you can actually kind of upload the pattern and create these really neat patterns, wallpaper or napkins or, sheets. You can see the pillows are really charming, and you can just create your own products, which is really cool. So, and then just to show this, again, you saw me, I did not measure, I played around. I ended up deciding I liked this diamond pattern better than the other because of the fact that things didn't necessarily meet up. If I wanted to measure more carefully, I could certainly do that, but I thought this was kind of a neat thing to show just because I was really trying to do it as low tech as possible and to make it accessible to anybody who just wanted to play around in their sketchbook. And again, you can see some really charming patterns emerge that are really fun to play with. Okay, here's a final look at the spread with the two patterns. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the time that you spend with me. Again, please join me either at my free seminar next week or take a look at some of my other videos. You can click subscribe if you want to make sure you never miss a video. I think there's some little bell to get alerts when I post. And I hope to see you here really soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye.